Hey, Wagwan people, it's Coach Chinggis, back at it again with another video. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about yet another spiritual revelation. It's not how I was intended to start the video, but I'm going to keep going. Bit of context, my spiritual father, Father Jacob, I can't remember why, but he recommended me a film that is on YouTube. It's called The Priest. Very ominous Russian film. Just fantastic film overall. This isn't a film review, so I'm not going to go into it or spoil anything for you. Maybe a few things. But the overall gist of this film is a priest, an Orthodox priest, that's living in Russia during World War II, and he's moved to a village that's quite under scrutiny from the Germans and the Soviet suppression. And the idea of this film, at least from my perspective, was to show the gritty life that we're all called to live, even priests. We can often see priests as these sort of elevated humans and pedestalize them and see them as these really holy men that live completely different lives, and they're amidst the angels at all times, which, if theologically speaking, is probably true to a degree, but we don't often consider they are just people like us. They are human beings with human being lives, with human being responsibilities. And this film really highlights that because it exaggerates it to such a degree because it's during the war and there's a lot of horrible atrocities occurring at this time, which he is exposed to and has to deal with in his priesthood. So this brings me to what I got from this film and why it's had such a huge impact on me. And this happened yesterday morning, by the way, so this is revelation, fresh off the press. And I've seen this priest who's trying to bring goods to prisoners of war that are all suffering with typhus. He's having to bless the bodies of the deceased who were killed by the Germans or some other form of tragedy. And then he's also adopting children, running liturgy, whilst once again under scrutiny, and there's barking dogs trying to stop the liturgy, and it's like all these things that are just getting in his way of living his life of faith and fulfilling his obligations as a priest. But he's doing it. And the film perfectly captures his sentiment as he goes through it, because you can tell that it's leaving him weary. He's going through it, kind of taking a deep breath every time he sees something, like, okay then, this is the next thing to do. And something really, I don't want to say triggered, but it really struck a chord in me. Because when you dedicate your life to God, your life is no longer yours. And that was what came to my mind as I was seeing all these things happen, but him still trudging through the mud and getting things done, regardless of what he probably wanted to do or whatever obstacles were getting in his way. It is not your life to live. It's God's life. My last episode was about coming into the position I am now as a Christian coach and the signs that revealed the way to me. But what you may not also what you may not also know about me is that I am on the path of the diaconate to, hopefully, God willing, become a deacon someday. And this all was going through my mind as I was finishing up this film. It's like I attribute all of this growth, all of this trajectory, the life that I'm living now, it's all because of God. Okay? Maybe I had to put in a bit of effort and utilize my free will to walk in that direction, but it's still all through God that I am where I am today. And it's hard. It's really hard. I'm not going to go on a huge sob story of what my daily life entails and how many spiritual battles I've had to overcome or whatnot. And I'm certainly not comparing my life to that of a priest during World War II. But such comparisons are redundant anyway. But recently, I've been struggling. I really have. I've had a few worldly worries that I've been wrestling with. Alliteration, not intentional. And it's through this period of Great Lent where I've realized the error of my past ways and how I can call upon God to further help me through it. And I was thinking, like, why is that the case? And it's because this life I live is God's. I've not fully 100%, but dedicated my life to God in thanks for all that He's done for me. And I can't do this without His help. I cannot. I really can't. That's something I've only realized in the last few weeks during Great Lent. Got videos on those subjects if you want to give them a watch. And no matter how down I feel or tired I feel or despondent, I can call upon God and He'll give me the strength necessary to get the next task done. I've really had to let go of what I want recently. Financial worry, wanting to be married, a whole bunch of things coming up. But they're not what I should be worrying about right now. In fact, I shouldn't be worrying about them at all. Easier said than done. Because, as I've said multiple times already, this is God's life. And what He wants to do with His life, this life, is a lot different from what I want to do with this life. I'm seeing them start to come together. And that has been a blessing in of itself. I'm truly grateful that I want to start going to church more and I want to start praying more and I want to dedicate my life to God more. But it's all necessary. I'm not trying to gain anything from it other than just wanting to live how God wants me to live because I owe Him my life. Not out of debt, but out of sacrifice. Just as He sacrificed for us. As Orthodox Christians, we sacrifice ourselves for Him. And this isn't to say that we're deprived of autonomy and free will, to say, this is God's life, not mine, so I don't get a say in absolutely anything, and I'm just a puppet being strung along by a tyrannical God. No, it's something much more profound than that. And maybe I'm not articulating this very well. Like I said, this is a very fresh realization for me. Please forgive me if I'm rambling on a bit now. I'm still trying to process this myself. That's why I wanted to record this video. But I honestly burst out crying when I had that realization that this is not my life anymore. Because when I see the trajectory of where my life is going, I know it's only going to get harder. But through God, I will become stronger. And all these struggles that I'm facing, varying in difficulty, are all part of that process of getting stronger. I like to think that I've come a long way. And then one minor lapse in discernment puts me down and I start feeling despondent or emotional in some way. And I'm getting a lot better at picking myself back up and not oscillating between different emotional states as much. It's becoming much more balanced the more I'm growing in my faith and orienting my life towards trudging the narrow path towards the kingdom of heaven. And the fact that I'm able to say these words wholeheartedly, I never want to say I'm 100% certain about anything because I'm not the arbiter of truth, but this just feels right. And I've had to come to terms with the fact that maybe I'm not destined for marriage. Maybe I'm to be a monk on Mount Athos. Who knows? I don't know. I think a lot of what our vocations call us to do cannot be achieved unless you're able to let go of the alternative. For example, I want to get married. I would love to get married, but I have to be okay with not ever being married. And that was hard. I don't know if I'm fully there yet. If you're listening, get me a wife, please. I joke, but I don't joke. I repeatedly say things like that because it is what I want. But this is God's life, not mine. So I have to be okay with not having a wife. I have to be okay with trudging through the mud, overcoming the numerous spiritual obstacles that are being thrown my way, doing the things I don't want to do, and enduring the spiritual gauntlet that is ultimately set before all of us. But not many people, and I really don't want to invoke a sense of pride in me when I say this, so please, if it comes across that way, it's not my intention. But this is why it says in the Bible that not everyone will take this path. I can't remember the exact words, but the narrow path is narrow for a reason. Because not everyone is, I don't want to say able, I think everyone is able, but it's willing. Not everyone is willing to sacrifice everything. Because it's hard, rightfully so. And I've had my regrets. I look at where I'm at now and think, hey, I was a lot more comfortable when I was back in my past life. I had a fair amount of money. I had whole access to all the expedient pleasures that I could possibly get my hands on. I could play video games all day and not worry about it. But where would that have taken me? Where would that path have taken me? So I don't know what you guys can take from this, to be honest. This is more of an expression than me trying to teach or instruct. But I hope this maybe sheds some light on your own spiritual journey and at the very least offers some encouragement while you're I can guarantee that you're going through some spiritual warfare to some degree, and I hope that this acts as encouragement to help you push through it and understand you're not doing this because you want to. You're doing it because God wants you to, and you want to do what God wants you to do. I think that makes sense. Rewind, play it again if it doesn't. Let me know in the comments if I'm just chatting nonsense. It's been known to happen quite frequently. I'm going to leave it there. I appreciate all of you for watching. All of you that are subscribing and engaging with my videos. I try and get back to every comment. If you want to chat, you can reach out to me on Instagram. Yeah. That's it. God bless. Hope you're still having a wonderful. Hope you're still having a wonderful Lent. And I'll catch you soon on another episode of Haven't Got a Name Yet. God bless.